Hey everybody, final thoughts time for Night Parade, a Yokai Cleansing Word Game. Before we get to that, folks, please remember this was a sponsored preview, and with that out of the way, talk about an MVP. You were not kidding when you said you like word games.
Hey, I've been, I'm a Boggle champion in my family, so I do my best. So I'm glad that we were able to work together
Yes.
in this one.
I feel like I contributed a little
You did,
bit.
absolutely.
All
Bucket
right.
was all you.
There you go.
Bucket was all you.
I was your, yeah, that's right. I nailed it with that bucket.
Yes.
Okay, folks. And in case you don't know what we're talking about, of course, you can follow the links down in the show notes. You have two options to go watch us play this cooperatively, which is a very, very interesting twist. You don't see very many cooperative word games. And then there's also a link down below to the learn how to play, so you can learn the particulars of the competitive game. So we're really covering just about everything, except for the solo and the team mode. But I think even still, you kind of get a sense for what those would be, having seen what you've seen. So anyway, folks. I am only 1/3 of a way through a game, so I don't have much in the way of final thoughts yet. We'll get to me later after I've gotten a chance to play this with Jen. But since you're here now, you've played it a bunch. How have you played it? What's been your experience?
Totally, yeah. I think I've played it competitively and cooperatively at this point. I played it a little bit solo. I tested it out a little bit solo. Didn't finish the whole game, but I don't play a ton of solo games personally.
Right, okay.
So, but I think this is a really interesting take on a word game. I mean, obviously, there's some variation with the dice.
Yes.
And the ability to refresh for a curse is a nice thing because you can kind of, expand your pool each time. And you realize, once you played it a little bit, right, you can clear curses. You can be smart about how you clear curses and things like that. So taking a curse on something like that is not necessarily a bad thing, right? But I think, in general, the cooperative version is really quite nice to be able to kind of go back and forth. I will say, I think it takes a little bit longer in the cooperative version because in the competitive version, we're all making our words kind of simultaneously. So there's a little bit of simultaneous play there that kind of speeds up the play time, and there's a little bit less analysis paralysis when it comes to completing the advertisements, right? Like I said, in the competitive version, the advertisements are kind of a variant. You don't have to add them in if you don't want to. You probably don't add them in.
Would you want to play without them, though?
I personally wouldn't. I think they add just a little bit of an extra twist to it that gives you something else to go for with your words, so it's not just focusing on your mat here. So I think it's a fun thing, and it gives you categories to think of your words within. So, for example, I'm always just putting out the letters that I need and then trying to build around those letters.
Yeah.
I really like that kind of structure of okay, well, this word has to start with an L or something like that, which means that I'm only thinking about words that start with L in my head.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I was going to say, when you first were setting this up, before you taught me how to play the game, and I thought, wait, all of those are my dice?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how many is it? It's 5,
I think
6,
it's 15.
9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 15 dice, including wilds that you might occasionally roll. I was like, my God, this is just going to be way too... I can't imagine trying to play Scrabble with 15 tiles in front of me.
Yeah.
But that's basically what this sets out to do. But then it's very smart of saying, okay, you don't have 5,000 options. You've got to find a way to put two vowels next to each other.
Exactly.
And okay, well, then it has to be two E's, and instantly I'm really focusing. Although what I'm also doing is listening to my phone ring. Let's see, folks. Oh, you can't see it, but it's potential spam. All right, please continue.
No, yeah, but as you can see, like in the last round, right? If you go back to the playthrough, you spelled the word soy. 3 letters.
And it was a monster success.
You completed all 4 of your bath cards, and you completed 2 advertisements.
Right.
So even in a 3-letter word, if it meets the criteria, it's a good word. You know? So you don't have to feel like, oh, I can't spell, or oh, I don't know that many. Like my vocabulary's not there. It's like, especially in the cooperative version, everybody's out there to help each other. And then they also mentioned in the competitive version, like if someone's struggling, like you can give them a hand. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like it's in the spirit of the game to help each other out. Like and give each other pointers. And I also there's also like if you have somebody that takes a little bit longer, there's a variant that includes a timer.
Really?
And, there are ways to speed up the game a little bit that are included in the rules as well, which is nice.
Let me tell you this. I guarantee you this is probably missing from the rules. And I'm just going to throw this out there, having not even played more than 30% of a game, but for the competitive element, I propose, here's a Rahdo variant for you folks. Another way to get rid of a curse cube, offer your services to help one of your opponents.
I like that. I like that.
I'm actually borrowing. It's something that Paperback did. Paperback basically kind of kicked off this modern renaissance we have of mixing Scrabble with a deck builder or Scrabble with any number of things. I don't even know what you'd call this. I guess this is Scrabble with tableau building, set collection game.
Dice placement.
And it was so brilliant that they recognized there's always going to be that case where there's some crazy wordsmith like you sitting with a total novice. And Jen and I have played Paperback that way, where in that game there's money, you have cubes for money, and you can say, look, I will literally pay you to help me. And then all the good players around the table is like, okay, I want to get that one coin. So if all the good players, okay, I want to get rid of that one curse. Hey, everybody work to help me. And even if I'm not doing it for myself, I'm definitely learning. I'm getting better just through the thought process. I'm just going to throw that out there as a suggestion. Isn't it brilliant?
I really like that. And I mean, I think it's in the spirit of the game. Like
exactly. As you said, the rules suggest doing it.
Yeah.
At least bribe. I want to bribe you. You want to get rid of that curse? Come and help me. I know there's a word here. I just can't find it.
Totally. I also really like the character cards that we have. So you used it. Your character card is like one that you can use. Yeah. Mine is one that I have to like complete. And so it was a little bit more difficult. They have character cards that are like 1, 2, and 3-star level difficulty. So
I see.
They add in some new twists to the game, especially, for first-time players and then for more experienced players. So that's another way that you can kind of adjust the difficulty level. If you've got someone who's not so confident in their spelling ability versus someone who's like very confident in their spelling ability, you can give an ID card that is a little bit more geared, like a higher difficulty level to someone who
I mean, you give the novice the one that says, hey, you can just generate a wild every turn.
That's
guaranteed.
Pretty nice.
That's
pretty nice. I could have used that, I think, a lot of times.
It is a 1-star Shadow Woman. So that's a way to bridge that gulf too. That's
exactly.
A good
point. So I think they put a lot of checks and balances. The rule book itself is very detailed and does a great job of laying out like all the potential situations that could happen, and also good explanations of each of the yokai that come out. So, and as you can see, even in the first round with the 2 players, we didn't even barely make it through half the deck.
Yeah.
So there's a push your luck element and hoping that you get the sets that you want to get and things like that. But in a cooperative, right, you're going to score higher because you're actually working together being like, hey, I actually need that one. Because in a competitive, I might be like, oh, he's going for that set, I might grab that.
Yeah. I am kind of surprised for the co-op that there's not some like, hey, look, I can accept a curse to give you one of my dice. Those kinds of things.
Or, clear something from your bathtub.
Yeah, exactly.
Or switch. Yeah.
I mean, they got the system. Why not just give us a little bit more? Because, I mean, we were pretty siloed. Yeah. We were both pretty much playing a solo game and then just helping each other with our mutual solo game.
The nice part is, clearing those is like definitely the pyramid puzzle for sure. So I like both options. I mean, I think competitive plays a little bit faster than cooperative generally, but overall, I think it is a really cool exploration on a word game that introduces a little bit of luck, a little bit of skill. You can work together, you don't have to work together. There's this like set collection element that's always really interesting. So I think it's got a lot of mechanics that I really enjoy. And obviously the spelling is always a fun part for me.
And from what I've seen so far, I would definitely say it's a strength that I mentioned Paperback. Paperback is now the OG. Everybody's played it. Everybody loves it. And it's a phenomenal game. And it also, not for nothing, has a great co-op mode in it too. But for most of these types of games, and I would include Scrabble with this, you start off slow and you build up to getting these big hands for these big super things. This game says no. You start out at 150 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
Here's 15 letters.
And 6 guests.
Here is 6 objectives, plus more if you want, plus your special power. Boom. It just throws you right into the deep end. So you don't have that slow, for some people, they kind of like that ramp, I suppose. But I do think that makes this feel very different. Because I played a bunch of word games over the years, and I've not really seen anyone like this. And honestly, it was very intimidating. And I was very happy to have you on my team. But as you say, the fact that, you're not going to use 15 times 14 times 13 times 13, like whatever the factorial is. You don't have that many combinations to consider because you've got to start with a consonant. If you want to get that, because that's going to be a huge power and you want to figure that out.
Absolutely.
And so instantly, there goes 3/4 of everything I could possibly do with these dice.
And I mean, you saw with your play, right? You cleared a ton of yokai from your bath, and that gave you a ton of wages.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately how you scored as many points as you did, right? Yeah. Whereas I didn't clear as many, but I had the synergistic ones. So there's multiple ways to achieve victory in that way. And I found in all the games that I've played, everything has been like fairly close from a point perspective, which is pretty cool.
And also, I'm really tickled pink by the theme.
Yeah.
Honestly, this game works a lot harder than pretty much any of these other modern word games to really make their theme. That's not true. Like Paperback Adventures has one. There's like a dungeon crawling one. I can't remember the name of it. I want to say, is it Spellcraft? It might have been Spellcraft. But, it's interesting. This one, putting aside the fact this is a lair game, how many times am I running a bathhouse, just trying to service customers?
Yeah.
And the thematic flourishes. Okay, we're only going to have 4 shifts. And at the end of the shifts, if there's somebody who you have not serviced, we suffer. When people show up at our door, some of the cards are face down and you don't know exactly... Well, can I see your party, sir? Oh, no, they're out. They're parking the car.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Why did I bring that guy in? I mean, there's nice little flourishes like that, too.
Totally.
That I think really elevate it. It's very impressive.
Yeah. The theme is definitely a strong suit. I mean, I played this with some folks that were much more... attuned with the theme and familiar with the different yokai and things like that, and they were all like, oh, not only are these things very cool, but they also like it kind of makes sense with those yokai are
based on their real
and things like that. So I think that is really cool. They did a really good job of marrying that theme, because I think, again, you talk about this, right? The themes in word games are usually, to me, it's oftentimes pasted on, right? Oh yeah, you're spelling words. Yeah. And there's also this other thing that you're like writing a book and things like that. But it's like, okay, no, you're just spelling words. That's fine. And that's fine. It's like I have nothing against those, but having the theme and the gameplay kind of married in that way really, I think, elevates it.
Also, I mean, this could have completely, gotten rid of the spirits and just, oh no, we're really running a bathhouse and there's different clientele. But I like the fact that there's this mystical element too, because to me that also, I mean, as we were playing as a co-op game, what was it? Trust the bucket.
Yeah.
Because your word was trust, my word was bucket. And trusting the bucket got all these people clean. And, they're spirits. They respond to, I mean, I can imagine that was our mantra as we were scrubbing them down.
That's right.
I mean, I'm not saying this is a hugely thematic game or anything like that, but it goes so far above and beyond what it needed to do.
Totally.
And then to hear that your friends were able to point out, oh, and by the way, they did their research.
Yeah.
They just didn't.
Yeah. So the lore is there. It's really cool. And I think they did a great job just as a whole in making it really feel like a packaged experience, a full package.
Cool. Well, do you have any more thoughts?
I think that's it for me. Definitely really enjoyed my play tonight.
All right. Well, I very much enjoyed playing it with you, and can't wait to see how well I do with Jen, because we're both more in the shallow end of the pool.
Just remember, soy will get you where you need to go.
Soy will get you where you need to go. Okay, folks. Well, that is going to be it for this guy. But I am actually, after he's gone, going to play this with my wife, Jen. And I will be back in just a second with some more thoughts based on her experience with as well. So everybody say goodbye to Alex, and I'm going to snap him out of existence right now. And that's it. Thank you again, Alex. Don't worry, folks. He will return. He has just gone back home to learn more games to teach me in the future. So now it's just me and my big old box art there. Although I don't have much more to add. I think what I had said previously pretty much stands. It's an incredible fusion of really fun and interesting thematic gameplay with really smart wordplay that just throws you into the deep end of the pool, but also gives you the tools to be able to swim. And it's very, very impressive. Now, one thing I did learn from playing it with Jen, and I should say we only played it cooperatively, like what you saw me play with Alex, because we just weren't that into playing it competitively, because neither of us are really world-class, Scrabble style players. And so being able to help each other and work with each other only elevates the experience for us. Let's see, stuff that didn't get mentioned. I'm really surprised the game comes with a lot of different ways to tweak the difficulty level of the co-op game. So the better you get, the more the game can grow with you, which is very, very much appreciated. And one thing I will say, when I was playing with Alex, things just zipped along so quick because he is a word game superstar. As I said, neither Jen nor I are. And even though the core game, you're only going to make each player 12 words, you're going to play through 12 rounds. For me and Jen, working so hard, we were pretty much exhausted by the end of the second night. After having gone through 8 shifts, 8 words each, we're like, oh my gosh, this has been hard. We are mentally exhausted. And then there's like, oh my God, there's a whole third shift still coming. Now, again, if you're good at word games, I don't really think that's going to be a problem for you. But for me and Jen, where it's really strenuous mental activity in the best way possible, I was kind of feeling, I think we both felt that, wow, this is a lot of fun, but I wouldn't mind, considering there are so many ways you can tweak the balance of this game and so many variants that come in the box. I'm just going to throw it out there to Jason Johnson, the designer. Hey, Jason, one more variant you might want to include, an express mode that's maybe, hey, here's how you rebalance it to only play through 2 nights, 8 shifts instead of 3 nights, 12 shifts, for players who just want a quicker game, but still get that ramp up and ensure it's well balanced and all that. How big should the pyramid be and stuff like that. But, that's really the only thing I have to add. As I got better with the game and I was really focusing on, targeting the types of sets or allowing you to target the types of sets you want. And then also, we played with several other of the yokai spirits, and there's so much variety to them. Some more fun than others. The one that's really thematically brilliant, the fact that you are literally a blind spirit, and so when you grab your cue, you don't get to turn all the face down cards face up until after you've made your word, and then you hope your word is going to work. I thought that was a very cool idea, but also very frustrating. Of course, you get powerful in other ways. You can have a bigger bathhouse, so you don't have to worry. But, I mentioned that as an example of just how much variety there's and so many clever ideas that, again, are driven by the thematic considerations of these, actual spirits from Asian mythology. I'm more impressed now than I was when I played with Alex, having gotten a chance to play with Jen, and I know she enjoyed it a lot too. So, I think I'm going to end it right there, folks. That was the preview for Night Parade, a Yokai Cleansing Word Game. Thanks so much for watching. Have a very nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.